What's up, yo? Welcome to the Young Legends podcast, where we teach you the cheat codes to the game of life. I'm your host, Caption, aka Caption Red, and I hope you're doing great wherever you are. And I'm really excited about this episode today, which is all about self-care. Now I'm going to start off with a quote that goes, "An empty lantern provides no light. Self-care is the fuel that allows your light to shine brightly." Now, one thing I know about you is that you want to be your best. And self-care is the thing that helps you do that. And here's the thing about self-care and most other things. Most people don't need to be taught, they only need to be reminded. And that's why I text my cousin every day with the phrase, "Where's my money?" That guy, he makes me so angry. Now, speaking of being angry, have you ever been angry and snapped at someone who didn't deserve it? I have. We do these things as people, don't we? And here's the thing. When you're irritable, you can't be a good friend, a good family member, or a good member of society. And we've all been there. We're in a bad mood, and it shows. But also, when you're super tired, you can't be a good friend, family member, or member of society. And when you're running on fumes, it shows. Now, there's a time in my life years ago when I was mentally in a bad place, a very dark place. And some days, I'd walk around with balled fists, just waiting for somebody to say something to me. Now, if I had known what I know now about self-care, I'd be in a much better place on a regular basis, and I wouldn't have been in such a toxic mood so much of the time. And one thing that helped me during this time is one component of self-care, which I'll share in a second. Now, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel of this pandemic, and we need to practice self-care so that we get there. Because I know we're all tired. I'm tired, you're tired, we're all tired. Now, what is self-care? Self-care is things you do to give yourself energy or to recharge. By the way, if you buy a defibrillator to try to give yourself a jolt of energy through your chest, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that it's not really helpful. Honestly, it feels like being kicked in the chest by a mule, and don't ask me how I know this. Also, keep in mind that the companies that make defibrillators have a terrible return policy. Terrible. But anyhow, we need self-care because we need to take care of our mental, physical, and emotional health, being our mind, body, and soul. Now, many of you have heard of Bill Gates. Let me tell you something about Bill Gates. That dude is a robot. When he was building Microsoft, he would have Tang, which is a powdered orange drink mix from back in the day, just right there on the backside of one of his hands, and he licked it and kept coding so he wouldn't need to stop to eat. He is an alien. So is Elon Musk. And if you're an alien like these guys, you're going to be able to live like them. But if you're like the other 99% of us, you got to be more balanced. And they had their own way of self-care. Bill Gates actually plays tennis and bridge, and Elon Musk plays video games and watches anime. Surprise, surprise. Now, the creator of Dilbert, Scott Adams, who I spotlit in my last episode about using systems to win in life, said this: "The best way I can engage with the world is to take care of myself first." And he's right. You gotta take care of yourself. Self-care is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And as I say this, I'll put in this caveat. Self-care and stress-relieving activities, although essential, aren't worth very much if you're not taking care of the big stuff. I mean, you can meditate, have a hobby, and FaceTime with friends, but if you're smoking crack, those things won't do too much good for you. Now, you're probably not smoking crack, but you may not be taking care of the big three. What are the big three? Well, first off, sleep. Sleep is super important. Most people need 7 to 8 hours a night. And if you don't sleep well, you're gonna pay dearly. Now, a while back, I started an online t-shirt business, and I got sick 4 times in 6 months. Now, usually, I only get sick once a year. So what happened? Well, I was working late at night, waking up early in the morning, was low on sleep, and therefore my immune system was getting jacked, and my body started to fall apart. So make sure that you're getting enough sleep to take care of your mind and your body. Your future self will thank you. And speaking of bodies, I have a question for you. Do you even lift, bro? Because exercise is a hugely important part of self-care. And exercise was my saving grace during that dark time in my life. Experts say that you should exercise every day and make sure you're doing stuff you like. Now, I like to ride my bike, but lately it's been really cold, so sometimes I jump rope. And recently I've been doing some running, not because I want to, but because I don't have any better alternatives. Now, I hate running, but I love what exercise does for me and the way it makes me feel. Also, besides cardio, you should lift weights too. Now, gyms are shut down and you may not have access to any weights. And also, weights are super expensive right now. So what can you do about that? Well, you go to Home Depot, you can buy a couple buckets, fill them with rocks, and after $20 spent, you will have enough weight to lift. When it comes to exercise, as when it comes to anything else, you have to be resourceful. The last of the big three, eating properly. Nutrition is super important. You need foods that'll give you energy and not drag you down. And vegetables are really helpful because they're very filling, but they don't sap you of your energy. They're also good for weight loss, amongst other things. And when it comes to vegetables, not all vegetables are created equally. So get up on some superfoods, being avocados, leafy vegetables, sweet potatoes, and all sorts of berries, which are fruits. But all those fall in the superfood category. And they're called superfoods because they do so much more for your body than all the other foods. Now, you can eat some of the stuff that you regularly eat, but as you do, try to eat cleaner and cleaner and make the change in your life incremental. So as far as changing to good food from what you regularly eat, you can go from a ratio of 20-80, which is 20% more nutritious food and 80% of what you regularly eat, and then slowly ramp that up to 30-70, 60-40, and so on. But honestly, I think most people can go 50-50 to 60-40 new foods versus what you regularly eat to 70-30, and so on. But the key is picking foods you actually like or dressing them up a little so they go down easy. I like sweet potatoes, I like avocados, and with leafy vegetables, I prepare them and put stuff on them so I'll actually eat them. Also, when it comes to self-care, make sure that you are getting some human connection, whether it's through phone calls, FaceTime, video calls, hanging out with people in your quarantine pod, doing a soccer ball catch-up with a friend so you can socially distance. We all need human connection. And I make sure that I have regular check-ins with friends of mine and also have people that I can call to vent, because sometimes that's necessary. And I speak to or hang out with my friends frequently, a few of them on a weekly basis. And as I do, of course, I'm socially distancing, masking up, and taking other precautions. And also, when it comes to human connections, if you're sick of being around your family, which I totally understand, get some alone time. Maybe you have too much human connection and you just need some time to yourself. Also, make sure that you laugh. Laughter is the best medicine. Some of the ways that I make sure that I laugh is I write things that are funny in my head and I make myself laugh. But also you can watch movies, you can do all sorts of things, whatever works for you. Another important part of self-care that a lot of people don't think about is medication. If you take medication for your mental or physical health, put a reminder on your calendar, put it right in front of you within your reach so that you remember to take it so that you can be your best. But also be mindful of any kids that you have around that might get into it, because we always have to be mindful of being safe. Also, meditation, Wim Hof, which is a breathing exercise, other breathing exercises, these are very helpful. I've talked about these things a lot, and I recommend the Headspace app, and I recommend Wim Hof, and I'll make sure to link both of those in the show notes. Also, even though it's too cold in most places right now, in a few weeks, you might live in a part of the country where you're able to start gardening. And gardening from all the people that I know that do it, and the small amount that I do it is really good for you because you're reconnecting with the earth. It's incredibly therapeutic. People who garden have reduced symptoms of depression, anxiety, less stress, and also show signs of weight loss. But as you do it, make sure that you're doing it in your own yard and not your neighbor's, especially when it's past midnight. I learned that one the hard way. Now, what else can you do for self-care? You can do things that are upbeat, like singing and dancing. Both of those are my jam. You can do things that are more relaxing, like going for a walk. You can watch good movies or your favorite shows. And one thing I've learned about myself is I need a good laugh before I go to bed. But as I pick the things to watch, I make sure that I don't pick things that make me lose faith in humanity. And there's some shows and stand-up comedians who I can't watch because I'm being mindful of that. Like I said before, garbage in, garbage out. But find something that's a happy medium that puts a smile on your face and also focuses on the good in the world instead of all the negativity. Also, do something that helps with mental stimulation. Some people crochet. Maybe you can learn or practice an instrument. Maybe you can play a game like Words with Friends, or do a crossword puzzle, or paint, or draw if you don't want to deal with all the mess of painting, or color. Doesn't matter what you do, just make sure that it stimulates your brain. Another way to practice self-care is to talk to a therapist. And if you can't afford therapy, find someone to talk to. Now, some of this stuff you may think is lame, and you might think it's not right for you. But one thing I would say is don't knock it till you try it. And the thing is, no one needs to know that you're gardening or doing crossword puzzles or any of this. You can keep all of this a secret. And here's a little secret about me. When I was in 3rd grade, I used to bake cake. Nothing too fancy, just the stuff from Duncan Hines. And one time, one of my friends was over at my house, and my mom told him that I made the cake that he was eating. And he asked me if I made the cake. And I did what any self-respecting 3rd grade boy would do. I lied. And I said, no, I did not make that cake. And he said, well, your mom just told me you did. And I replied, that's not even my mom. And then I ran away in order to keep the lie going. And the moral of the story is, don't allow your mom to speak to your friends when they're over. I'm pretty sure that's it. All right, so you're asking yourself, how will I implement this into my life? There are a lot of things that he just talked about, and there are a lot of different ways to do self-care. This is information overload. I can't take all this in. Well, the advice I would give you is treat your life like it's a restaurant and create a menu. And I've created one. I made a list a while ago, and I wrote down all the things that bring me joy. And then I took that list and I put it into categories. And here are my categories: inside the house, outside the house, public places, and of course, with people. And then what I did is I took this menu and I put it at eye level next to my bedroom light switch, so I have to see it multiple times a day. So what you can do is you can create a menu of your own and pick 1 or 2 things every day off of that menu. And also I would advise keep a photo of it on your phone and favorite it in case you can't look at the menu in your room. But when it comes to self-care, you must be intentional about it. It's something that you have to plan. Put it on your schedule. Put reminders on your phone. Because here's the thing, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So build your schedule with a self-care activity or 2 on it every day. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, I don't want to live like a robot. Well, here's the thing. Schedules are there to help you do the important things. LeBron James has a schedule. Joe Rogan has a schedule. Beyonce has a schedule. What schedules are there to do is that they're there to enhance your life, not to restrict it. Now, I myself, I used to use a habit tracker, and it really didn't work well for me. as far as getting me to stay on top of my habits, but it might work for you. Download one and give it a shot. And give all of this a shot. Honestly, what do you have to lose? And make sure as you're picking out your self-care activities, as with all other activities, that they fit your lifestyle. Because if it doesn't fit your lifestyle, it's not doable. Now, recently I was talking to a health and wellness coach, which I highly recommend, and you might be able to get one through your health insurance. Well, the last session that I had was with one of the best ones that I've ever spoken to. And we talked about my health goals. And we came together with a plan of what I need to do, which honestly I already know, but like most people, I know what's good for me. I just need to be reminded. Well, my coach said, put your self-care and your R&R activities on your calendar. And make sure that you include little breaks on your schedule too. And we also came up with the idea to put things that distract me, like social media, on my calendar for a short amount of time if I need to do it that day. And there are times that I have to be on social media sometimes. But by doing this, scheduling on the calendar will help me to stay on track. And if you implement things like this as well, it's going to help you to do the important things that you need to do. Also, in regards to self-care, you need to create a no list. The no list sets up boundaries that help you to take care of yourself. So, for example, no technology after 9 and no technology the first hour of the day. Or maybe you decide no looking at your phone during family meals. Or no junk food in the shopping cart. Or maybe it's no phone in your bedroom. And also, don't use your phone as an alarm. Get an alarm clock. Trust me on this. It'll make a huge difference. And here's another good one. No texting your ex after watching a good rom-com. Unless your ex owes you money. But even then, yeah, probably not. Now, in all seriousness, the no list, what it's there to do is to keep you away from your vices and to keep you mentally healthy. It's easy to go on a spiral or to indulge in things that aren't beneficial, and all of us need guardrails to keep us from falling over the edge. Now I'm going to end on this. As we do this, please know that you're not going to be perfect. Someone wisely said, perfection and pandemics don't mix. And I don't know about you, but I've had a bit of a rough go at this. And here's the thing. You're going to have bad moments. And perhaps bad days. And this pandemic might be the closest thing that you'll ever experience that's like being an addict. Because people who have addictions, and in particular, substance addictions, they fall off the wagon sometimes. So maybe this is a time for you to learn what it's like to be in their shoes, and maybe you'll have some compassion for them going forward. And that's part of the silver lining of the pandemic, and also the negatives in life. All right, so I'm done relaying the information on you. I'm going to drop some bars on you real quick. But before I do, like the end of any movie, I want to thank the people who contributed to this podcast episode. And they did this indirectly by offering up their expertise. See, I do a lot of research before each one of these episodes, and I just wanted to give each one of them a special shout out. So here they are. Rafaelia Michael, who is a counseling psychologist. Elizabeth Scott, who's a wellness coach. Ray Jacobson, who is a writer who focuses on issues that pertain to girls and ADHD. And David Anderson, a PhD in clinical psychology. To those 4 people, I want to say thank you for what you do. This episode would not be what it is without your contribution to the world. And of course, I'll make sure to tag their writings in the show notes. Chat. Speak from the soul, keeping my goals, keeping my mind up in control. I'm talking about the things that I need to bring, a bunch of self-care so I could be the king. I'm talking about my mind, also my body, also my spirit. When I'm dropping these lyrics, I'm talking about things that I need deep. I'm talking about sleep, no I don't creep. Up out of my bed, I jump out of it cause I'm energized and I mentalize the things that I want. up in my life when I'm busting on mics. I'm talking about a whole bunch of things I want to be seeing up in my mind. I gotta be eating the good things, growing from the ground, throwing it on down. That's what I found, a whole bunch of things. Good for my memory, good for my energy. That's what I got. I got a bunch of seeds that I be dropping up in your mind when I'm busting a rhyme. I'm talking about exercise, that's what I gotta do. Get my heart racing, yo, I'm just chasing a whole bunch of goals. Create from the soul, and that's what I say. That's how I roll. I'm talking about things that I need to do so I can elevate. So I need to meditate every single day up in my mind, clear out the thoughts. Yo, it's not a chase, it's a Headspace, a good app. That's what I say when I spit these facts. Breathe in, breathe out, that's what you gotta do. When I come and talk to you, gotta just drop a few things that you need. Yo, I'm not hardening, I'm talking about the ground and that gardening that you freaking need. Things to grow up in your soul, de-stress, that's what I say all the time. Stay in the mind, I'm talking about schedules, how you need to find a whole bunch of time, fit it on in. And that's what I'm saying, when you come through the wind, you gotta self-care all the freaking time so you can be aware up in your mind. Have a good life, keep on going. Words that I'm throwing, something I'm showing you how you gonna win in life. And that's what I say, I begin on mics, so I'm talking about the things that you need so you could come through and you could just be the very best of yourself you could be. And that's what I say when I drop from the tree. I'm talking about the knowledge that I be given. And that's what I'm saying when I come through, I'm living with rhymes all the time. Self-care right now. And that's what I say when I put the mic down, I spit off the top. And that's how I go. And that's what I said with a knowledge flow. Alright, so that's the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot out of it. And I hope that you practice self-care. Create a menu of possible self-care activities. And you continue to make moves in the right direction. And if you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to hit subscribe. And also, if you can think of a person that would benefit from this podcast episode, please share it with them. All right, so that's all I got for today. I hope you're well. Keep on keeping on. And until next time, peace.